All right, so now that you understand the basics of what a view component is, and we learned how to construct one here, the next step is to figure out how we can store each view component within its own file. And then whenever we need to use it, we import it, and we're off to the races. Here's where we left off at the end of the previous episode. And yeah, have a look. Technically, it's true we can inline components like this, but in real life, you rarely will. Instead, each component will be stored within its own file. So let's do this. Let's select the entire object here, cut it, and we're going to store it in a new file. Maybe this will be within a JavaScript directory, and then it's also pretty common to see a components directory, so we'll follow that system. Okay, now I can create my file called app button. All right, and let's paste in that object. And then I'm going to add export default to the top. All right, so let's talk about this. If you're unfamiliar, what we have here is referred to as a JavaScript module. It's a little confusing. Just think of it like a file. It is a JavaScript file that can export things to the outside world. In this case, the default thing that we're exporting is an object. Okay, so now if we come back to our entry point, we can import that file. So this, again, just to be crystal clear, this exports an object. Now I want to import that object, like so. Import app button from, and then we provide a path to that file. It's as simple as that. Now I can reference it like so. So yeah, it's very simple. We cut that code, we threw it into a file, we exported it, and then when we come back, we can import that object and then reference it like we did before. So what we have here is good, but there is one little issue that you might have picked up on. If we come to the browser and refresh, it doesn't look like it's working. And if we take a look at the console, we can see an error, cannot use import statement outside of a module. And yeah, imports are meant to be used within a module. But what we have here is just an inline script tag. So in modern browsers, we can actually set a type of module to declare that this should be treated as a module. And that should remove that error. Give it a refresh, and now it works. All right, so what I think you'll find is that you will almost always adopt a system similar to this. You're not going to inline dozens and dozens of view components. Instead, one component per file, and then you import as needed. That's the way it works. Now, to help you with this, let's pull in a browser extension. If you're working along, Google View DevTools, and then you can pull in a browser extension that will help immensely. So in this case, I already have it installed, but yeah, once you click on that, you'll have access to a new toolbar that you can see right here. All right, let's give it a shot. And a quick note, sometimes you might need to open a new tab or close the browser and reopen it. But yeah, once you do, if you open up your DevTools, you'll find a new View tab like we see right here. All right, let's take a look. This is incredibly useful. And yeah, notice what we have here. We have our root component with a single child component called app button. And when I click on one of these components, I can see all of the reactive data it's associated with. So for example, right now the button is in a processing state, but I can even tweak that by clicking this checkbox, and now it will be treated as if it's not processing. Very cool. Okay, so make sure you pull this in. You will use this religiously as you build your applications. All right, so we're making some pretty good progress here, I think. We're sort of cleaning up our room by extracting each view component into its own file. In the next episode, I want to move on to props, which, again, I think you're going to like.